Croeso nôl and welcome to the latest episode of the Fearless in Devotion podcast. This week we have Andy Gilpin, Reveley and Randall. We have Tim Edwards and myself, Andrew Pallada. Reese cannot be with us this weekend, but he will be back, I'm sure, next week.
Why isn't Reese here? He's gone to pick up a table from Port Maddock. Not Port Maddock, Port Talbot.
That would be a long journey for Reese.
Yes, Port Talbot.
That's a hell of a table.
The only table I care about is the League One table.
There we go, which we're sitting very pretty on that. Before we get into the meaty goodness of that particular table, of course, a shout out to our great sponsors, the Fat Ball Group, the Fat Ball Mold and Wrexham, Hill Street Social, the McClean Hall, FE's Corner Board, the Buck in Bangor on D, and the Croyce Howl. Andy, I'll tee you up for the newsletter as well before we get into the meat and the matter.
Yeah, newsletter. It's £15 for the year. Last week we gave you a little sort of subscriber exclusive. You got the Brian Flynn chat from the Fearless in Devotion live night. I think it went down pretty well. A lot of people said they were rolling in the aisles watching that. So we'll if you
was Flynn.
Yeah, I was going to say that myself then.
It was.
If you subscribe, you get that. I'll put it in this week's as well. It's like a YouTube link that you can click on and watch it, and it is pretty good. We're getting close to a milestone subscriber number, and if that happens, there will be a special gift, and it won't be the hat that was on my seat yesterday.
Come on, number 5.
The child size hats.
I tried to put it on. It restricted all the blood in my.
Super tight.
Yeah. I'd held off until when it absolutely started, torrential downpour. Then it's like, right, I'm in a little corduroy jacket. I'm gonna at least put this hat on, and it just like rested there, like it was an extra from like a Tintin cartoon back in the day or something. But right, yes, yesterday, of course, as we're recording this, yesterday was Saturday, which meant Wrexham 1, Wigan 0. Wigan 0. Why have I got that one? Wrexham 1, Stockport 0. Jesus, that's my James McClean brain there. Wrexham 1, Stockport County 0, of course. Massive game, more importantly, massive 3 points. The performance was okay, but the main thing is exactly 3 points. And also another big point for us is the fact that Jay Rodriguez is off the mark, even though it looked like he wasn't going to be. But yeah, I guess we'll start with that. Tim, we'll come to you first on this one. Were you surprised that Rodriguez got the penalty? Because obviously the penalty itself is something we will talk about in depth shortly, but just for the actual strike itself, because Sam Smith had the ball and everybody's thinking Sam Smith's taking the pen. And then there's the handover and the crowd, there's a bit of a, is that... Do we think that Sam Smith take it on himself to say, no, you have this, mate, get off it? Is it Jay Rodriguez wanting it? Is it a Parky thing of like, no?
I don't know, but I think if it is Sam Smith, then that's kudos to this the well tried and tested team mantra and the fact that it's kind of this band of brothers, us versus them mindset. So I didn't really figure out who'd hand over what, because at that point we were like, what's happening here? Because of all the deliberation, which we'll come to in a second. But I didn't feel too nervous about it. I just thought he's got to get off the mark at some point. And bizarrely, I can't remember who put it on Twitter, but bizarrely, he's ended up scoring the most difficult chance he's had in a Wrexham shirt. And like it's a standard save. It's a poor penalty, let's be honest. It's a poor save really to push it out into that direction, but his reactions to it, slow as the Stockport County defenders' reactions was great. He knows that he's got to connect cleanly with it. He's got to wrap his foot around it. Doesn't have much to think about. You just got to hit it low, hit it hard, and he's got it in. And you could see the relief. You could see relief for him. You could see how happy the subs were for him. Just a massive group hug. So everybody was delighted for him. I didn't mention this on the pod last week because I completely forgot about it, and maybe it is pertinent. You can tell me if it's not the case, but I think the reason, on top of the fact he hasn't really set the world alight in a Wrexham shirt, I think the reason why he was kind of made a scapegoat a little bit is because the fans maybe didn't have like an emotional buy-in with him, as we have done with Mullin, as we have done with Palmer, Lee. The documentary has aided that to some large extent, where you have that emotional connection and what they've achieved. And I think because him and Smith have been jettisoned in, said this is the preferred partnership now. Obviously, Smith's got a bit of credit in with him coming with a big price tag, scoring goals already. Rodriguez just almost feel like the sort of black sheep of the striker family, if you like. It's like we're not quite we're not really on a par with him yet. So I think that might have paid some sort of reasons to why there was a lot of catcalls and so on for him. But delighted for him. Did he do much before it? Did he do much after it? Probably not a huge amount, but he scored the winner. So viva J Rodriguez, or J Rod, even though I got shit for saying that. Grown man Colin and the grown man J Rod. I scored the winner.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the J-Rod stuff, but I will call him J-Rod all day if he's scoring goals. And we're getting 3 points. So yeah, if anyone sees me looking down, if you're watching this on the video, I'm not being rude. We have a very special guest coming up. Mickey Thomas, one of the greatest players in Wrexham's history, fantastic Welsh legend, is joining us a little bit later. So if you see me looking at my phone, that is why I'm sorting that out. Andy, we'll come to you next on that one because, Andy and Liam, feel free to chip in, I guess, on either of this. Either of you on this. There wasn't just the one penalty shout. There were a couple of penalty shouts in the game. What do we think of both of them, and particularly the one that got given? I guess, Andy, we'll start with you on that one.
I think the one that we didn't get is a nailed-on one when Sam Smith gets pulled back, and there's an option there. Is if you give the penalty. There's no double jeopardy now, is there? You can't give a penalty and a red card, can you? It's either one or the other. But I thought that was nailed on. I thought the second one we would never get in a million years. And everyone says that we buy the referees. That's only our second penalty of the season, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I never thought we'd get that because I thought he touched it because the ball changed direction with his arm in the air. But it's a brave linesman to make that call. I know you've got James McClean absolutely bearing down on you, but even so, 9 times out of 10, the referee won't listen, and the referee will just say, let's just carry on. So fair play to the ref and the lino for getting together and giving it. Yeah, it wasn't a great penalty, but I think on the basis that the first one should have been a penalty, I don't think the Stockport defence can have too many sort of arguments. For me, the nailed-on thing, which is later in the game, is when Fletcher's going
racing through. Yeah,
he's absolutely being pulled down. I said it at the time. I mean, that's a nailed-on red card, has to be, and they're down to 9. The one thing I would say I thought Stockport were unfortunate was the second yellow card for Hills. I didn't really see much in that, and I would be very, very disappointed if that was given for against us. So yeah, it's weird, isn't it? The referee absolutely being lambasted by Stockport fans, but he's not our best mate either. It's quite hard when you try and alienate both sets of fans. So well done to that guy.
Yeah, he's done well there. Liam, obviously you don't sit too far from me in the game. I can see you loitering and menacing and kicking off on everybody all the time. From where I was, which is, I don't know, 10 yards from you, I think. What fascinated me was the fact that with the penalty that was given, which I'll be honest, I don't think that's a penalty. I'm with Andy on that one. But I thought the other one was a penalty. So, swings and roundabouts. But what fascinated me was the fact that the linesman did not raise his flag. And it was a linesman that made the call for the handball. And he's, instead of raising his flag, he's called the referee over and gone, all right, mate, I think you might have handballed it. What do you think? What do you make of that? It was just so bizarre.
That was pretty much the same conclusion that we all came to. Is if that's a definite penalty, why the hell isn't he furiously waving his flag? I mean, I get the impression that he has called the ref over their headsets or whatever, but I just don't understand from his perspective. You make it obvious, don't you? It's not like you say a case of, "Oi, mate, by the way, have you seen this?" But the officials in general, I don't know what it is this season, but it's just the inconsistency for me. There's been so many. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're at the sort of level where they're trying to make a name for themselves and they can, go higher up the tiers or something like that. But
that's exactly what they're doing, mate. League One is the proving ground to get higher, to get to the Championship into the Premier League. I mean, I'm going to be absolutely honest. I don't think the standard of refereeing has improved much since the conference.
It's really not, and it's just little things like that where you see it and you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And I've been going through this, and you could name so many different instances where there was a Stockport fan saying, "Oh, what about the Stephen Fletcher handball?" But then, like you say, it evens itself out because you can say, "Well, what about Stephen Fletcher getting dragged down, or what about the Stockport player who allegedly spat towards fans in the paddock?" So, over the course of a game, there's so many things that just have gone unnoticed or just completely bonkers decisions. I do think the luck evens itself out over the course of the season. It's just, but yeah, I've not been impressed by the officials this year.
I couldn't stop laughing that all the head loss on that is when people are saying, well, McClean shoved him and then he's obviously handled it. But if you get pushed, your natural reaction is to your natural action is to put your hands low to break your fall, not look like you're going to try to slam dunk it into the net. I mean, the guy's arm is so far high and wide. That's not a natural movement. I'm not having that as a natural movement. And I think the litmus test, as shit as a litmus test as it probably is, if that was given against us, how would we feel?
I'd be pissed off.
I'd be fuming. Yeah, I'd be fuming because it's, for me, it's the distance of where the ball travels from to his arm, and it's. I agree, Tim. If he's going to be falling, then yeah, of course, naturally you're going to be trying to break your fall with your hands. But I just think they've both gone up for it. His arm's gone up. I'm not defending this. I'm not turning to some sort of Stockport County fan. I mean, I've been to Edgley Park for a few gigs over the years. It's been fantastic, as well as away games. But no, that was, to me, I didn't think it was. I think to circle back to your question there, yeah, if that was against us, I would be absolutely fuming. But again, to go back to what Andy said at the beginning, I think the other penalty shout was a penalty, the foul on Sam Smith. So, these things.
All this chatter about McClean bullying the decision to be overturned or changed, he was actually ready himself to take the corner.
No, he wasn't giving up. He was about to take the corner.
It was the chance of cheat from our section that did it.
He hasn't ran in. He hasn't gone face to face to the referee or the linesman. Yeah. He's give verbals, shock, surprise. It's James McClean. Of course he's going to do that. But then he's kind of just gone, right, well, let's just see what happens. Otherwise, we'll take this corner and we'll get on with it. Yeah. So
I wondered if the lino has sort of gone, I think he handled that then. And then he sort of thought, has he? And then you got McClean going, he's handled that, mate. He's handled that. And then you see all the other players behind him. And maybe that does sort of.
Please do it in an Irish accent.
No, please don't. Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Absolutely not.
I think what kind of
enough the Irish, they don't need that.
What I think was summed up in the area I was in anyway was the fact that when the linesman was calling the ref over, a few people thought that maybe Jimmy had gone too far and it was going to get in trouble and get a booking, and so nobody was really expecting the pen to be given from that moment on. But I mean, while we talk about James McClean, I mean, there's this. I want to talk about Arthur. He did, yeah. I do want to talk about Arthur in a second, but while we're talking about Jimmy, it's only right to bring up an incident I did not see, again, being the other side of the ground. I didn't see it at the game. Obviously, you see something's gone on, but supposedly some Stockport fan at halftime had thrown a punch at Jimmy as he's gone down the tunnel. I believe that was looked at halftime by the people in the powers that be, and decided that, like, okay, McClean's done nothing particularly wrong there. I mean, obviously James McClean is James McClean on the pitch. If you give him some sort of verbals, he will take any chance he can to get it back. What do we think about this? I mean, Tim, we'll come back to you. The whole situation there with this supposedly a Stockport fan. Although Stockport, to their credit, have come out today. You sent a link over that Stockport have come out and said that they're what was the terminology? Working with.
So they said that you're aware of an incident, but I mean, to my knowledge, at the time of recording this, Stockport put something out, but we haven't. So I don't know if that's telling in any way. I don't know, but I didn't see it. There was chatter that during the game that McClean's just punched somebody, and then further things come to light is that there's some guy in a cream-coloured jumper, Stockport fan, has kind of leaned in to take a swing, and Jimmy's put his arm up to kind of block, and you know what happens then. So it's either something has happened, and it's either self-defense or it isn't. So whatever due process comes of that, if he ends up being punished retrospectively, then so be it. If he deserves it, then so be it. My understanding is the Stockport fan was ejected from the ground. If he feels he's got a case to answer, I'm sure he'll put his view across. Either way, whichever look at it, unsavoury, and this is probably another reason why that tunnel is going to go into the new cop end. And another prime reason why they've moved that is for the safety of the players. Yeah. It's been well known before, earlier on in the season, McClean can just go a direct travel to the nearest exit because of the shit he gets. So, and he got a lot. It's not like we didn't see that coming. And I thought he had a really good game as well. So
Can I just ask about the tackle? Because when he first when it first happened,
Shouldn't
Ask about Jimmy's tackle if you want.
it was so bad. It was so bad.
I mean, his feet are off the ground.
Fucking
As soon
hell.
as it happened, I went, if this is a red, I don't think we've got too many complaints.
I thought that, yeah.
Both teams could have ended up with 9 players on the pitch, and Dobson
Dobson's
there's a strong
lucky.
claim. Dobson
Yeah.
was lucky, but like my dad's like, he's quite old school, just get on with it and just sees the game as he sees it. But as soon as McClean wiped that lad out, I just turned to me and went, he's fucking clobbered him.
Just
like,
on the
yeah, he has.
Just going back to the fan incident, though, I mean, like Andrew, I didn't see it from where we sit, but if a fan's going up, and I suppose it depends who's supposed to have thrown the first punch and stuff, but
Well,
as soon as a fan,
it's not going to be McClean.
well, no, it's
walking
not,
off.
it's not. But what I'm trying to say is, if a fan crosses that threshold and does that, personally, I think you can expect a player to, defend themselves, whatever form that might take. And I think any fan that does that just deserves a ban from football, because it's just completely mindless. And I do think the security, or that situation needs to be reviewed, where you've got like baying away supporters waiting for McClean or whoever it might be as they're going down the tunnel. There needs to be better security in place. We've got to look after our own players at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I love James McClean. I think he's fantastic. He's fantastic for the club. He's fantastic for the town. He gets us. But then there are times as well on the flip side of that where, okay, the security needs to be better, but then he does go over to try and instigate things a little bit at time. So it's, but I think, yeah, whatever went on Saturday, I mean, from what we can say here on Sunday, the day after the game, that, yeah, something was a bit over the top, seemingly from Stockport. But there is an investigation from, at least on the Stockport side of things, and we'll see what the crack is of that. But I mean, to bring things back, I said I wanted to bring them up. I guess we'll go back to you, Tim, because obviously the book of. But Arthur Okonkwo, I thought. I mean, there's been a few times during the season where he's dropped out for a few games, and I think maybe it's been used as this is a wake up call. Yeah, you've come in from Arsenal, you were great for us last season, but if you are having bad games, you're not guaranteed to play. We will play Mark Howard. And I thought Arthur on Saturday was absolutely fantastic. There was that one save off header as well in the second half. Just, yeah, top
We're
tier.
100%. We are seeing peak Arthur Okonkwo in terms of what we've got for him right now. We always knew the potential was there. The fact he's knocking up clean sheets for fun. And you look at watch the highlights. Look at the reaction of the Stockport players when he tips that point blank header onto the bar. They're like, how on earth has he? Because the velocity of the header, and it's so close to him. His reactions are insane. Like, they're so good, so good. Like, I always thought Rob Lainton was up there for agility, cat-like agility, but that is just, it was top draw. And, we saw it at Wickham last week. He's straight down low. He's become more commanding. I always felt he might be quite a timid character, but I think he's come out of his shell a bit more.
Yeah.
I think the people in front are helping him find his voice now. Go, look, you're a key player in this squad and what this club is trying to achieve and the trajectory he wants to go on. So I'm delighted for him, because he had that wobble with obviously the sort of serious injury, and I think he's gone on record to say, I did come back a bit too soon, and it kind of hampered my progress. I had to kind of come back out to come back in, and he is a massive part of the success we're enjoying, because it's classic case now. We're nicking an Arsenal song, and we 1-0 to the Wrexham, because it's an art form. It might not be pretty, but we're digging out results by the odd goal in a very, very tough division, and he is central to that.
Yeah, I think obviously that save that we're talking about off the header was phenomenal.
Oh.
But it wasn't so much that I was impressed with, because that Arthur, we know he's got that in his locker. For me, I thought more impressive was how dominating he was on crosses and high balls in, especially when the weather went absolutely horrendous in the second half. He was just, because there have been times, maybe last season, a bit earlier this season, where sometimes on crosses, maybe it could be a bit hit and miss. And I just thought how dominant he was. Obviously, just his general area of coming for balls and claiming these balls and coming over big, gnarly centre halves or centre backs and just grabbing the ball. I thought that just was a massive.
That entire, from him, starting from him at the back all the way through to the 11, right? That defensive effort was massive. The amount of off the ball running, pressing was huge. Love to see the sort of stats from that in terms of yards and kilometers. It was just an unbelievably impressive defensive effort. And and I'm not saying this because we beat him. I genuinely was expecting a lot more from Stockport than what came our way. It didn't really. Wooten had that chance. Wooten had that chance early doors that kind of fell to him, and then the header. But even Challenger's gone on record to say we didn't create anywhere near enough, and that says a bit about them. But I think it certainly says a lot about how good we are defensively.
Yeah, we got a lot better at the sort of like the art of closing out the game, which we were so good at in the National League days. I used to love watching that, just watching how they played down the clock. They were so good at it, and you never felt at threat that we were going to concede. And for all the talk of our style of playing, I know it was another 1-0, but as a spectacle, I did enjoy it a bit more yesterday. I don't know if it's because there was a bit more atmosphere and a rivalry to it, but I also just thought to a man we were very good at doing the simple things well defensively. They kept them to sort of like the 30-yard area, and then they'd pass it sideways and pass it back or whatever. I didn't think they really laid a finger on us, and I know Stockport fans will have a very different view on that, but yeah, nothing but impressed by us yesterday.
Well,
you know what,
Andy, I was gonna say let's circle in on Stockport fans, because I mean, realistically, that pretty much kills their
knock them out. That's knocked them out.
Yeah, their slim
That was
chances.
a winner-take-all game.
Yeah,
Andrew.
yeah. I mean, a lot of them are that are coming
but
up.
you know what
well.
I mean? As in case of if they'd beaten us, they're 3 points behind us. Yeah. Now they're 9 points. They're more or less out the automatic promotion race, because the thing is, we are accumulating points. That's what we do. We don't lose many games. They're edgy, they're close, but we get there in the end. And what we're saying about Arthur is, well, Arthur's coming to form at exactly the right time, and a lot of players are doing that at the moment. Smith's having a good spell. Matty James, I thought, did very well yesterday, and I've not always been his biggest fan. And I think it's important that Dobson sort of refined his role a little bit on the right-hand side of the midfield three. So, Longman offers he's a big lad, Longman.
He was great. He was tremendous yesterday.
Well.
So he's crossing.
He's solid either way, isn't he?
Yeah. How did Rathbone miss that chance?
I know. I didn't want to bring it up, but I love Ollie. But yeah, that header, it was there. I think as well. What surprised me, I thought, especially with Jimmy, the way things were going, I thought when Barney came on, I thought it might have been again Longman switches to the left, Barnett comes on for McClean, but I thought Longman, I think, is he's really impressing me. But yeah, the Stockport reaction, the fallout. Tim, we'll come on you there, because Colin Camps was the player who went off injured after about 20 minutes. After George Dobson putting a tackle on him, and then he tried to run it off, didn't quite happen. But the Stockport fans they've not taken to this one well. Nobody likes to lose, and it wasn't. If I'm a neutral, it wasn't the best of games. There wasn't too much in it. It was a very scrappy game. We got a penalty. We got a penalty, which I don't think we should have got, but there was a penalty we didn't get, which I thought we should have got. But yeah, even Colin Camps' dad was going in on Twitter saying all sorts of horrendous things about our fan base, about George Dobson, about our players. But do you think Stockport have gone a bit over the top? It just seems.
I thought you were calling him Colin Camps then, as opposed to Callum. Is it Callum?
It's Callum. Yeah, it's Callum.
I think it's Colin. Colin Camps sounds better. I saw the bits from his dad kicking off and giving it the big one. It's whatever, isn't it? It's a weird one, because there's obviously there are a certain element of Stockport fans got a lot of time for, and that they know how to win with decorum and grace and class. And there's a lot for yesterday that probably didn't. In all honesty, there was. It kind of took away from the fact that they didn't perform great, but then they're hedging their bets and honing in on the penalty incident, completely forgetting about the penalty we should have had 2 minutes earlier, etc., etc. But the head loss is weird, and it kind of like maybe tallies in with the whole thing of it feeling that they're genuinely more arsed than we are. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't going to miss that game, even though I wanted to be in Cardiff for the Wales-Kazakhstan game. But I was like, you can't never miss the opportunity of the Stockport thing, because I think it is good. It is a healthy, competitive rivalry. And you could see how much it meant to both sets of supporters yesterday. But some of the fallout from their end was unbelievable, like wildly over the top. And I just loved it because of the stuff that's gone previously with Challoner in the pub saying, "Fuck you, Wrexham, we're going to win the league," to the plane flyovers, to
oh my word, the plane.
yeah, it's it's a never-ending list of little things where you go, you've spent money to do that. Fair play, which is wild.
Yeah, I think just to add though as well, I thought in terms of volume, I thought that the fans were absolutely fantastic
No,
on
they were
Saturday
good. Yeah,
for the most part.
yeah.
They were great. Just obviously you always get the odd dickhead, and obviously the odd dickhead seems to have been the fella in the cream / ecru goat who got I was going to say a word that would not be. I was going to say ejected. Ejected is the word I was looking for. I nearly said something else.
Was not a Jack.
It actually was. It actually was for some reason.
There's a lot more similarities between the clubs than we care to admit
Oh,
to.
so you're right.
That's just the bottom line of it, right? And both clubs will end up in the championship, whether it's now for one of us or both of us, or next season, whether we stuff it up and we end up playing them in the playoffs. You just don't know.
Yeah.
But both deserve to be at the level they're at, and they probably both deserve to be at a higher level. They genuinely do. You know. So, go on, sorry.
No worries, mate. No, just a quick one from me. There was it summed it up for me before the match. We were in the Magic Dragon pub, and there was a Stockport fan in this big League Two Champions T-shirt, and he was walking around with sort of bit of a swagger on, basically like, notice my T-shirt. Someone noticed it, and needless to say, it went completely uncommented. So I don't know. It just sums it up for me. Yeah, I don't want to say it's one-sided, but
yeah.
Well, some guys said, "Oh, we've pissed all of your parade in recent years." I'm like, have you? I mean, yeah, banging on about the 5-0. I think there was one lad leaving the ground yesterday, and he was giving the 5-0 stuff. It's like, well, how far back do you want to trace it? Should we go back to the 6-1 FA Trophy win over you guys? I mean, should we go back to the days where Adam Lafondra used to beat the shite out of us every day?
Oh, geez, that hat trick he got at Etty Park, 5-2. Fair play.
But how far back do you want to go with it? We had the 3-0 win. We pumped them here. It's a classic case. They win at their place, we win at our place. That's just the way it's going at the moment. That has been for a while, and it's only going to get progressively worse between both sets of fans. I don't think that's going away anytime soon. And I think it was Hills that supposedly spat in the direction of a kid again. I don't know if that's fact or fiction or made up. It's hard to say. So you just try and deal with the facts in front of you, and the facts are. We got a deserved penalty and won the game.
Yeah, I think we've got our guest who should be joining us any second, but there's a really, really red hot topic that we need to address. Liam Randall, I'm coming to you. Hatgate, before Mickey Thomas joins us.
You mean twirl your hats? Oh, I've never heard of anything like it in my life. Okay. Twirl your scarves, fine. Twirl your scarves all day long, but twirl your hats. I mean, I know they were quite small as well, so I don't know how well how useful they were for swinging. The only thing I will say is, yeah, that's a problem I have.
Flip that up.
One thing I will say though is fair play to United as sponsors though, because actually I think little giveaways like that, it doesn't take that much probably from their part, budget wise, but it does make a nice difference, and I think that's one thing from sort of American fan culture that I witnessed when I was over there, which is quite decent. They do a lot of giveaways and things like that.
We need a t-shirt gun. Take someone out.
Yeah, t-shirt gun, and I want like the Portland Timbers where you have some maniac with a chainsaw chopping up a big massive piece of wood at the front to get the crowd going.
If you swiped one the more hat, then you're a thieving bastard. Don't be robbing it for friends and family. That's naughty.
Yeah.
I had my security on it. Neil Hayes, my security man, was on the case once again. So yeah, shout out to him.
You sending a heavy at 2:00 to protect your hats?
Yes.
Andrew, Mickey's in the building, but
fantastic.
Needs to pop on his camera and his microphone. Mick, if you see the bottom left-hand side, just sort of put your fingers there. So Mick, can you? Turn it off and back on again.
I managed it last time.
Right, Mick, talk now.
Hello.
There we are.
We can hear you. Right, next thing is, can you start the video? So if you go to the same place where you did the microphone, you'll see a little camera emoji. If you just sort of press that.
Here he is.
Yeah. Can't believe that, didn't it?
There he is, the magic little man. I've given the formal welcome. 349 appearances for Wrexham over 2 spells, 78 and 93 promotions, Welsh Cups, European Nights, 51 caps for Wales, Man United, Chelsea, Everton, Leeds, Stoke, a whole other bunch of clubs. We'll forget Shrewsbury. One of Wrexham's greatest ever players, one of Wales's greatest ever players, one of Britain's greatest ever players, Mickey Thomas. How are we, mate?
Oh, that's a round of applause.
I'm embarrassed with that. Yeah.
All accolades are very well earned. How are you keeping? Did you get to the game yesterday?
No, I couldn't make it. I was coming back from Portugal and it was delayed the flight. Obviously, torrential weather over there it was, so I couldn't get to the game on time. So disappointed with that. Obviously, I want to take Joey with me as well, but that didn't happen. There's other games to go to, so I'm looking forward to that with Joe.
Yeah, let me guess. You were playing golf in Portugal, yeah?
Yeah, well, unfortunately not, but the weather's horrific. So no, honestly, the worst weather week I've ever had anywhere.
Wow.
I guess we've got 8 games of the season left, Mickey. Second in League One. You've been obviously in a similar position, 1978, getting promotion, winning the league. What are your thoughts right now? Are you feeling confident? Obviously, you're always confident that Wrexham are going to get a result, but
you've got to be confident. I think the position they're in now, obviously, the pressure's on Wigan. They have some tough games in there. 8 games they've got left, of course. They've got to play Bolton, Huddersfield, teams like that. So it's our home form, obviously, now back on track, which I'm more happy about. We have 5 games away and 3 at home. I would like to the promotion be cemented in Blackpool away game. That would be a terrific time to get that promotion. That would be perfect, wouldn't it? But I'm not sure that would happen. But if it did, it would be the best ever.
Yeah, you were, like I said, there. You're part of the last team to get us to what would be the championship in 1978, winning what is now League One. What are your memories of that title win under Arthur and just the team we had together there?
Obviously, we knew what we had to do, and we did it. Probably the best performance of the last game of the season against Rotherham.
Yeah.
7-1, whatever it was. So we did it in style, of course we did. But to get up to the championship, which is called now, was a fantastic achievement. And Alvin Griffiths for me was a magnificent manager. John Hill obviously started off, but he finished it in perfect style.
Yeah, and it was like we won the league by 3 points. That's how close things can be. What could you, I don't know, advice that you'd maybe give from how Arvin was in that run-in to maybe advice you give to Phil Parkinson? What did Arvin do that was different to get you over the line, to get the job done?
I don't think Phil Parkinson needs any help. I think what he's doing is an incredible job, and he's selecting players that he thinks get the team promoted. And obviously some are a bit controversial, of course. Paul Mullen and Ollie Palmer, but I go along with the manager. You've got to, because he sees them in every day in training, what they're like and what the attitude is, and he feels at this moment in time that the squad he's picking is the right one, and he's been proven right with results.
Yeah. Well, what do you make of the Mullen and Palmer stuff then, Mick? Obviously, you've now done it.
Well, one thing I will say to all you guys, listen, that the manager always wins. There's no question. Yeah. Hence, I had about 11 football teams. I think obviously this is crucial. No distractions. You have to focus on what is important. Is the 11 that take the field every game. Of course, Paul Mullen is a super player, a legend of the football club. But at this moment in time, Phil Parkinson sees a different team that he thinks will get them over the line. You have to go along with the manager.
Mickey, do you think, just sticking with Parky for a minute, do you feel he is maybe underappreciated, not underrated, but underappreciated in certain quarters, whether that's from within the fan base and wider fan base? Because I look at it and I think any of the managers achieve what he's done is surely headhunted elsewhere, irrespective of how long he's been in the game.
Football's brutal. There's no question about that. I tend to agree slightly, but unfortunately, you got to look at the bigger picture. And Phil Parkinson knows more than what we do. We're not having a discussion now, but he knows what's going on behind the scenes. And he feels it's right at this moment in time to pick the 11 or pick the squad without those 2 players in it. For whatever reason, that's down to him. But I think, you can get a massive distraction if you focus on that more than anything. We've got 8 games left. Wrexham Football Club, is bigger than any other player that's ever been at the football club. And that's the most important thing, that they focus on these 8 games and put to one side what other fans are saying. I read the media, don't get me wrong. I see a lot of unhappy people with Mullen not included, but unfortunately at this moment in time, you have to go with the manager, what he's doing.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Who's just in terms of the Mullen and Palmer replacements, I guess, in terms of Jay Rodriguez and Sam Smith. What's your thoughts on what you've seen from those guys? Because obviously it was big risk for him to jettison 2 players in and go, you are the preferred 2, so you better start hitting the ground running. It's taken a little bit of time.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with what you said. Then hit the ground when they had to. Of course, Jay Rodriguez hadn't scored a goal until yesterday. The pressure was on him. Some players take a little bit longer to settle into a football club, and that he probably has found that a little bit difficult. But he's got that goal now, and hopefully he can move on and get a lot more goals till the end of the season. Sam Smith looks a very good player. I think he's been around. He's got the experience. And I think there's no better player at this moment in time to be in that front two position.
Came with a nice price tag as well, Mickey. Did you ever think you'd see the day where we'd splash a fair bit of cash on one player? I mean, obviously, always felt it was maybe going to come under the new ownership. It still feels surreal anyway. I think it does for me. I think it's quite bizarre still.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to distract from not Paul Mullen or Ollie Palm, whatever. That is a massive talking point for some people. But I just think this moment in time, and I'm going to repeat myself again, is that Wrexham Football Club is the most important thing. They're in a fantastic position, to a magnificent manager that has done extremely probably better than any manager what he had to put up with. I'm talking about the razzmatazz of a Hollywood thing and that, to get their players focused. And it is a massive distraction with the cameras round you now. It makes you a different person, but he's got them on a level footing. And I think this manager deserves all the credit coming his way if we get that magic promotion this season.
Yeah, I have to ask on that, Mickey. You mentioned there the Hollywood razzmatazz. How would a young Mickey Thomas cope with this? Say 1977, 78, that season, there was the
I dread to think. I mean, obviously, it's different times now, and our time's gone, but now it's the future now. And, 15 years, guys, we were in that non-league, 15 years of a bad time. These two guys, Rob and Ran, have come along and changed the fortunes for the better. And not just for the football club, for the town. Everything is completely flourishing. Everyone's making money, everyone's enjoying it, and it's great times now. And hopefully that will continue.
Mickey, I know. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No. Mick, can I throw it forward a little bit? No, I don't want to count my chickens, but we're in a really, really good spot to get promotion to the Championship. Now, when you guys went up in the late 70s, there was a lot of changes from that team that played in the Championship. That they lost a certain Michael Thomas, who went on to Man United. When you look at that squad, how many do you think could make the transition pretty easily? How many do you think they'd need to bring in? And is it almost the fact that because that squad is used to winning, is that worth something in the Championship? Would you look to wholesale break up that squad, or do you think it should be given the chance to have a go?
Well, I think everyone, including on the Zoom call, will probably understand that you have to buy, you have to get better players in. You're at a different level. If you get promotion to the Championship, other clubs have got money. Other clubs can spend a large amount of money. You have to compete with them. It won't be easy. Yes, these players have done well to get us to where we are, but there will be a lot to change. No question about that. You're talking about a different level completely. And I think obviously the manager knows that. And as I said, next season, if we do get that magical promotion, this will be a manager knowing what he needs to do and get obviously players that will cost a lot more money in the transfer market to make you survive in that Championship.
Yeah. Something that Tim touched on there. I mean, Parkinson doesn't get the praise he deserves. So say, for example, we do go up to the Championship and we don't start very well. Do you think, I mean, it sounds horrible, doesn't it? Like, if you look at the managers who have done so well to get a club to a certain level and then it hasn't started very well and they get jettisoned. I mean, can you really see that happening to Parky? They've got to give him the full season, haven't they? Because, if one thing, he does know the Championship and he does know, like he did it with Bolton on a quite tight budget. He managed to stay up. Now, even if they do get off to a bad start, and some people will call him out, do you think he deserves that chance for the whole season?
Of course, he deserves a chance, Andy. But unfortunately, football, if you're not winning football games, you come under the radar. There's no question about that. The fans are very hard to please. They want to win every game. Everyone knows what the right team should be and what we should be doing. But, as I said, the manager is so much under pressure. to get results. It makes no difference what you've done before. It's about the next game. And that's what football is. You judge on the next game. It's as simple as that. It's so difficult, to start the season next season, don't start well. The people will be moaning, and you guys know that, we'll all be having why is he not doing this and why is he not doing that? But as I said, he's a manager, he's a strong man, Phil Parkes, and he can take it.
I'm going to hand over now because I feel a bit weird talking about the Championship and we're not there.
Yes.
Literally, I can't. It's like
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I can't do it. I mean, I'm a Wrexham fan. I've been a pessimist for 20 years. What Robert Ryan are doing now, they're giving me hope and they're making me think we can do things I never thought was possible, and it still scares me a little bit. So I'm going to take a back seat.
Mick, you've talked earlier in the season about when Ollie Rathbone came in. His dad says to you, he's going to be the next Mickey Thomas. Is he living up to that mantle yet?
Well, I think he's consistent in his performances. And I think one thing that some players don't get the credit for is their work ethic. And he works exceptionally hard every game. He gives everything. And, that sometimes goes under the radar. Some fans don't really see that. But, when you want players in, and I think what Phil Parkes, and I think you all agree, I think as well, is that he's been loyal to one or two players that have been a little bit, from the fan point of view, not happy with performance-wise. I think Matty James is the one that, he believes in. And when he does a good job, he's nothing fancy, he plays it simple, and he keeps the team ticking over. So in that respect, I mean, as Andy just said then, we're talking about the Championship. We're not there yet, are we? So,
no.
we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But if it does happen, as I said, he will have to adjust. There's no question about it anyway.
Yeah. Do you think the similarities go down to appearances? Obviously not quite as handsome as yourself, but he's got a similar haircut, Ollie Rathbone.
But I think Ollie Rathbone, for me, is a player that, fans love, because you know what you're going to get out of him. And that's what endears him to the fans. He's the one that sets the tempo in games. He's the one that sets, the team getting up for it. And that one little tackle, little things like that are very important. And as I said, he's a very important player. As I said, all the other players, Maxi for me as well, he's one player that will relish going into the Championship.
Mickey, just before we kind of look to like the extra preview and so on, if hypothetically, and it is purely a hypothetical question, because I know you said that Phil Parkes doesn't need anybody interfering or help from anywhere else, but if they would say, Mickey, we want you to come in and we want you to speak to these players before they go out in front of this crucial game against Charlton, where everything rides on it or something like that, what is your message to these players? Even if it's for that one game or for this run-in, what would be your message to them?
Well, just to believe in yourself, and do things like you do naturally. Don't change your game and that, and focus on what you got to do in certain situations in matches and that. I just think, looking at the players out there, that they know what they have to do. The pressure will be on. There's no question about that. As Andy said, we think we're in the Championship already. I believe that they'll be focused. I think he'll get them all in thinking in the right direction as well, because there is a pressure even at home. When we're expected to win that, this is where the fans will play a major part at home, where they stick together, even when things aren't going that well, that they don't start moaning, that they keep the good vibes going, because that is crucial for a player to keep his confidence in certain situations.
100%. Can't say any better than that.
Yeah, you got to gamble. When certain things go, gamble. Don't wait. Make it happen. Make it happen. And that's where you go and stick together as a team. In that dressing room, it looks like they've got the right formula, the right chemistry. It looks like it's good at this moment in time. If you can keep that together, then I think this could be the magic moment that we get back in the Championship. Did you hear what I said? Back in the Championship.
That magic moment from the magic little man. I know. You were going to say that then.
I mean, guys. It's easy to forget, obviously, but this team can do something that we all want to do. And that just reminds, as I said to Andrew before, many times I spoke to him at the Myers Gwyn, is that the bad times about, because you're a proper fan. No disrespect to the ones that just come on board, but you're proper fans. You've been with this club through a difficult period, and I want you, like me, I want the rewards that they deserve, that they get this promotion. And those are ones that really matter. The ones that have been there when this club was going out of business, were completely gone. people like you deserve what. Hopefully, that we'll get this promotion this season.
Yeah, but then the other part is people like us, because we've been there and we've got I don't know, the cynical heads on us. It's like, oh, but we I don't know, the championship, that just seems unreal. And then the idea kind of goes to, well, what if we don't get promoted, whether it's automatic or the playoffs? It's always that cynical Wrexham head. I think it was Liam or Tim, I can't remember before, mentioned about the transfer fee with Sam Smith. I felt like that was my own money. Trust me, I don't have £2 million in my bank account, but
let me
I felt
ask you all. Let me ask you all on this now. Just give me a quick answer. Individually, each one of you, right? Would you be disappointed if we didn't get up? And would you think it would be a bad thing if we didn't?
No. I wouldn't be disappointed, because I think we've overachieved to be where we are, and hopefully we can push on and get to the championship. So I would not be disappointed if we didn't go up, because you recognise what the players have done this season is very special, regardless of whether that's second place or whether that's third, fourth, and missing out in the playoffs even. I think we've got a special group of players who've done a lot this season.
I would be disappointed, because I think
you would.
The chance is there for us now.
Yeah.
We've managed to fashion this where I think Charlton are out the race. I think Stockport are out the race. I think it's us and Wycombe.
Yeah.
I think we've got a better squad than Wycombe, and I think we've got better fixtures than Wycombe. And to not go up from this would be very, very gutting. And I would actually think it would probably derail our playoff hopes, because we think we should go up now. And I think that's what Parky's telling them. Look, it's in our hands. We won't have a better opportunity than this. Go out and grasp it. And I would be disappointed if we didn't do it.
I mean, trust me,
Yeah.
I'd be disappointed if we didn't get promoted, but I wouldn't deem the season a disappointment, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I think in the moment, I think you naturally you would feel disappointed having come so close, but yet so far, because of what we've overachieved. But I think we can kind of put that away now, that term of overachievement, because we're fully deserving where we are. I think Andy's right. You kind of have to grasp it down now, because there's no guarantee we're going to be in this position in 12 months' time in what will surely be a stronger division. So I think there would be an element of disappointment. However, that said, it sounds a little bit like football romantic, but I'm just delighted to be back here. Just delighted to be back going to these stadiums, having these sort of half decent banter with some sizable fan bases, and if we happen to need to do it again next season, then so be it.
The only reason I would be disappointed is because I do actually have belief in these players now, and I have belief in Phil Parkinson. I think there was a period maybe around January or February time when everyone was getting a bit cynical, and it was hard not to get caught up in it with his Mullin playing, his Palmer playing. But like you say, these are all distractions, and I think the last few weeks with the likes of the Wycombe game, yesterday's performance, I do really believe now. So the only reason I'd be disappointed is because I really think they can do it, and I think they deserve to do it as well.
Yeah, after listening to all your opinions, Andy, yours are really changing my opinion slightly, where you're saying that we're in this position and we are in a great position. To miss out would probably hurt a lot more if we didn't get promotion. So maybe in that respect, yeah, maybe we've got this chance, take it now, whether we might not be good enough to go up, whatever, forget about that. Let's take it if it comes.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
So should we do predictions for Exeter?
Yeah.
Who's going, by the way? I'm going to go down and making a weekend of it. Can't wait.
I'm going to Macedonia tomorrow for the Wales game, so the turnaround is a bit tight to be stuck on a bus for 10 hours. Otherwise, I'd love to make a weekend of it down there, but it'll keep.
Like that old chestnut. I'm going to Macedonia, so it's a bit
Sorry.
of a tight turnaround. Yeah, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
I know.
I've never been there.
Yeah, no, I've never been there. But yeah, no, to give before we get into the preview, just want to give a little shout out to a listener of the pod, Wade from South Wales, who comes up for every single home game and most away games.
Sorry, yeah. Met him the other day.
Got a chance with my Squin again on Saturday, and he mentioned that he convinced his missus. Well, he surprised his missus with a 40th wedding anniversary trip away to Newquay that just so happens to coincide with the Exeter fixture. So well done, Wayne. You've done well there, pal. Hopefully the missus does not have too much of a fit about that. But yeah, just thought I'd give him a shout out because he's a lovely fella. Always makes a big fuss, though. Always listens to the pod. So yeah, congratulations to him and his wife, his good lady on 40 years. Yeah. And hopefully she's not too pissed off that it's a football game that's part of the celebrations. But yeah, let's get to it.
Where's Wayne gone? He's been gone for 7 hours.
Guys, quickly, 8 games left. How many are we going to win?
I think we need to win 5 to go up.
5.
And I think if we do all right against Exeter, you got to hope we're going to beat Burton. 5, it makes it complete. I would say I can't see Wickham winning all theirs.
Wickham's runs, Wickham have got a tough run. I mean, you look at Exeter just for the weekend; they're 16th at the moment. They're actually 6 games unbeaten at the moment. 0-0 at Lincoln at the weekend.
Take a draw, but 5.
But what we going with? Mickey, we'll start with you. What's your predictions for the weekend away at Exeter?
That'll be a tough game. You're quite right. They're in a little bit of a good run, aren't they? Not the best grounds to motivate yourself. Be a large following from Wrexham. That will help, of course. I'll take a 1-0 victory there. I take a 1-0.
Yeah. Liam, yourself?
I'm going to go for 0-0. I want to say 1-0 to Wrexham, but I know Exeter's defence. I've got a friend who supports Exeter, and he was saying that they have really picked up form since around the turn of January, and they're actually very good at defensively as well. So hoping for a 1-0, but I'll say realistically 0-0.
Yeah. Tim?
Ooh, come on, Tim. Come on, Tim.
Before I come to that quickly, just to time with what we mentioned about Stockport and their tweets earlier, I did read one, just tying in what you said about Wickham there, that said, I think Stockport got Wickham in the last game of the season, and the Stockport fan said, I would quite happily roll over and lose to Wickham if they got second place. I was like, fucking hell, they really don't like us. So I think it'll be tough. I think it's sold out at St James's Park. Their St James's Park.
Yeah.
I think it'll be 2-0 to us. I just think you've got to go into this now with that positive mindset, and I think I think this is the catalyst now. I think they've got it. They can see it within reach. I think that will drive them through. I genuinely do.
Yeah, Andy, yourself?
Look, it's music to my ears that Exeter are good defensively, because then it will be 2 very good defensive teams up against each other, and I just think we've got a little bit too much up front. I think Smith is really coming to his own. I love his hard running style.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of ways that we can score a goal, be it set piece, be it we've got weapons in our armory, and I think if they set up to defend well, I think we could maybe nick it by the old goal. I'm actually going to go 2-1.
Yeah. Well, coming to me to round up, I'm going to go
4-0.
7. No, I'm going to go 2-0 to Town. I'm going to go 2-0. I think we'll go there. We'll let them have the ball. Like you said, 2 defensive teams. Obviously, we're very decent on the counter. That's the way we play. Is absorb pressure, especially away from home. I think we'll get a 2-0 win. So that's my prediction on that. Just before we do wrap up, a quick mention, because it's not long finished as we're recording this, but Wrexham women 2, Britain Ferry 2. 2 goals in a couple of minutes for Wrexham women just before half time to put them 2-1 up. Abby Linden again and Ava Suckley. Unbeaten in the second phase of the Genera Adam Premier at the moment. Steve Dale's ladies are doing very well since the turn of the year. I mean, they've only lost 1 game since, in 2025, which is a cup game, the trophy game against Cardiff. So yeah, just wanted to give them a shout out. It was one of those where we're recording it as that's not long finished, so we've not got much time to
and if you can't get to Exeter, you're not planning to go to Exeter, the women are playing at the Kairos the following day.
Yes.
Against the same opposition, I think.
Yeah.
So it'd be good for people to turn up for them, because, like I said, they're really, really doing well in this division. They've acclimatized after a bit of a tricky start. So get down there and give them some support, and hopefully it'll be a good turnout for them.
Yeah, it's very much a tale of two, a season of 2 halves, because the second half of the season, they've been absolutely phenomenal. Full credit to Steve Dale and all his team, all his players. Fantastic job. But I believe that has brought an end to the latest episode of the First in Devotion podcast. Mickey Thomas, thank you so much, Mick, for coming and joining us. It's an absolute pleasure always to have you come along and chew the fat.
Pleasure, come on.
Yeah.
All I've got in my head now is Mickey saying, make it happen. Make it happen. Like, just that racking around your head, like, fucking make it happen. So if somebody wants to put that to some beats, similar to what we did the other week, you know what to do.
There we go. This has been a lot of fun. Right, of course, again, before we go, a shout out to our sponsors, the Fat Boy, Mold and Wrexham, Hill Street Social, the Mice Queen Hall, FA's, the Corner Board, the Bucking Banger, and the
Remember,
Cruise.
only the Fat Ball sponsor
Oh,
us, Andrew. I just want you to know that, okay?
I've been told it's the group, so yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
if it's the group, can we have a bit more cash for each one of those establishments
That's
within that
something for you
group?
to
That'd
take
be
up with
Such
Bard
a
and
fantastic.
Rich.
company man, Pollard.
Yeah, I'm a company man. What can I say? But yes, again, thank you for joining us this week. It's been Andy Gilpin, it's been Tim Edwards, Liam Randall, myself, Andrew Pollard, and of course, Mickey Thomas. We'll be back next week. Be well, stay safe. Any final words, Tim?
Cheers for the points. Cheers, thank you.
Up the town.
Up the town.
Up the town.